Fold a piece of paper in half. We'll be making a leather taco for a sheath. Put your knife in there, about 3/4 of the way down. Outline your knife, giving yourself about 3/4 of an inch for space later. Fold it in half so when you cut it out, it's symmetrical. See if your knife fits in there. Make little design points to make it look good. Now take your paper template, cut it out in leather. Trace your template on the leather. Add a little strap that'll be used for a belt loop at the top of one side, 3 inches. Cut it out. See that your knife fits in there and that you got room for stitching on the edges. Pretend you're a surgeon and snap some latex gloves right on. Let's put our first coat of dye on this. Now we'll put the belt loop down, mark it. Slice some off so that it lays flat. Rough it up so the glue holds. Clamp it and wait. Punch some holes for the sewing. If you don't have a leather punch, just drill a hole with a small bit. Let's sew it. a knot and cut it. Take some epoxy, and put it over the thread so when the knife goes in and out of the sheath, it doesn't cut the thread over time. We're going to make a thread trough with this so that the threads lay flush with the top of the leather. You don't need to do this if you don't want to. Mark some evenly spaced holes that you'll be using to sew thread through. Rough up the outer edge where it's going to be glued together with the contact cement. Make a taco out of it and clamp it. Let it dry. Now that it's dried and stuck together, you're gonna take those holes that you placed and punch through them all the way. If you don't have a leather punch, just take a drill and a small drill bit to drill the holes through. Holes are in. Now we're going to saddle stitch it. I have some close-ups of how I saddle stitch it, but feel free to look on saddle stitching up on YouTube. If you know any good saddle stitching YouTube channels, please put it down in the comments. Make sure the holes you drill or punch are big enough that you can fit both needles through. I usually go down and back so that it's extra strong. Here I'm beveling the corners off of the leather. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. Just touching up my dye job here. Now I'm going to form the leather. So I took the knife that's going to be in there, put a bunch of saran wrap over the top so it doesn't get wet. Submerge the leather sheath into warm water for 4 or 5 minutes or until it's completely wet. Leather should be pliable right now. You put your knife in there. Take rounded objects, start forming where the knife blade is. Form where the handle is going to be so it's nice and tight so the knife doesn't fall out. And then you're going to just let it dry. Once it's dried, it's fully formed to whatever shape you put it in before it was dry. So now it's fully dry and fully formed. The knife should have a nice hold in there. It won't fall out. There's the finished knife and the finished sheath. Thanks for watching.